What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Andre SOG Ward. Get this. Andre Ward states that Golovkin literally just showed up to get a check against Canelo Alvarez. Andre Ward, of course, was a rough and rugged fighter during his heyday, and his fierce style has transitioned behind the microphone as an analyst for ESPN in the retirement phase of his career. When the Hall of Famer fighter was asked to assess the recent fight between Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez, a clear unanimous decision win, the unbeaten former two divisions champion Ward didn't mince his words. He said, "I thought Alvarez should have stopped the version of Golovkin." Ward said on Max Boxing, "If Canelo is who he say he is, an all-time great, you got to take advantage of a fighter like that who just literally showed up for a check." The performance that Canelo was a little shocking. I thought he would do a bit more, but the performance from Golovkin was not shocking. I was shocked by the reaction and the response that people finally got the revelation that he's looking old. Let me counterpunch. I couldn't agree more. Golovkin, I think, on his end. Well, I couldn't agree more with Canelo. Let's say that, because Canelo should have done more. You know, the Canelo that smashed Caleb Plant, that smashed Billy Joe Saunders, that beat up Callum Smith, all bigger guys than Gennady Golovkin in a higher weight class at 168. And you get a guy that's smaller like Gennady Golovkin. He's not necessarily a small guy, but he's not the biggest guy either, and he's definitely coming from 160. And old as he is, at 40 years of age, he should have stopped him. So I think what that really reflects more poorly on is Canelo Alvarez. You lose to Bivol at 175, and then you come back and you go 12 rounds with a guy that's 40 years old, a grandpa, okay? And he showed his age. Golovkin showed his age. Now, did he just show up for a check, though? That's the question you ask yourself, and the answer is half-ass. I think Gennady Golovkin tried to turn it on, okay? Tried to turn it on in the last quarter of the fight. He did try. You can't say he didn't try, because he did land some pretty good shots. He did press the action, but really the first half, okay, and a little bit after, he looked like he literally showed up for a check. But you can also understand that he is old. You know, I mean, maybe it was one of those things where he had to wake up. He had to get the engine running, and then maybe it took too long. But again, it all goes back to his age. Gennady Golovkin is 40 years old, man. Okay? And when Canelo, fought him in the first place, he was already 35. That was 5 years ago. And even at 35, he was considered old. Gennady Golovkin wasn't in his prime any longer at 35. I think he had peaked at maybe 33 or 34 when people were ducking him left and right. But when he got 35, it was the green light from Golden Boy to get that fight done. Now Canelo Alvarez can claim a middleweight. Because remember, he wasn't for the longest, and I think because they were apprehensive, because they didn't want to throw him in there with a guy like Gennady Golovkin, because they were afraid of what Golovkin will do to Canelo Alvarez. They weren't sure that this guy might go in there and destroy our fighter, and if you destroy our fighter, you destroy the biggest name on our promotional platform, and if you do that, you're destroying our platform. You're destroying our promotional company. So, you know, Canelo carried Golden Boy on his shoulders, and then they knew that. They weren't going to risk that. That's why Canelo was protected. That's why he got decisions that people didn't agree with. Those are the reasons why, because Oscar De La Hoya was in the protection business, okay? And I feel that nowadays he's not, because he's with Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn, you know, tries to get some of the biggest fights made, especially for some of the best money. I think Eddie is really obsessed with the amount of money that his fighters can make, because, of course, if they make the money, he makes the money. Okay? And Gennady Golovkin was no exception. But Did he show up to just get a check? I think, that might, looking at Gennady Golovkin, based on his age, it might appeared like that early on, but in the later part of the rounds, he showed you glimpses of who he really used to be. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Andre SOG Ward stating that Golovkin literally showed up just for a check. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!